Hi, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to One Snatch. Today I'm in, as usual, half face again because it's another makeover, and this time it's one of the most famous podcast slash radio DJs in Singapore. Come in, Joshua Simon. Come have a seat here.
Oh my gosh. On a Sunday morning while it's storming outside, okay.
Yep, that's when I do the best drag is Sunday mornings.
Oh yeah, just to like fight like the dreariness of the outside world.
And when everyone's at church, getting dragged.
That as well. I have been telling myself I need to go to church on a Sunday. I've been wanting to, so.
Well, I'll bring you to church today.
I'm in quite the cathedral.
And today we're going to get into some militant homosexual looks. Okay, are you excited for your first time to be put in drag?
When he said militant homosexual,
many homosexuals that I know are very decent people. But because of this small minority of militant homosexuals, they give the others a bad name by being bullies and by being difficult in their conduct.
how many of y'all actually like identified as like, I feel seen? It's like militant homosexual. That's what I've been looking for. The definition of who I am, I think.
Okay,
so.
well, let's get militant today. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and ring that bell for post notifications. All right, Joshua, are you ready?
Hi. I
Ready.
Sir, what did they say?
I didn't.
So yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yo,
sir.
let's go.
Let's go.
Gotta do
Okay.
that voice throughout. Okay. Oh my god, we're gonna like just start.
Yeah, this is good.
Holy crap, okay. There was like no warm up, there's no like, okay, cool, we're gonna take things slow. We're just gonna
Nope, we're just gonna go right into it.
Okay,
and
kind of guy you are,
bring
I
you
love
in.
it.
Okay, so this is gonna block your brow.
Sure. So I actually just shaved.
Oh yeah, I just made him shave. He came in and I said, I mean, we didn't get all of it off, but
yeah,
we got most of it off.
this is as clean shaven as I've been in years.
Okay, so Joshua, tell me more about yourself. You are, obviously everyone knows you now. You're a radio DJ. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, so I'm a radio presenter. I've been doing it for a decade now. And I am also a podcast host. I host a podcast called the SG Boys.
SG Boys, yeah. I
I
love that podcast. I had your co-host on here. Sam Joe, yeah. Yeah.
Now Sam Joe is Jojo Sam Claire and killing it. And gosh, the lighting here is great. You don't even need like a filter or anything.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I just need like 7 of these just like randomly placed around the house.
Yeah. So your co-host now is a almost full-time drag queen. Yeah. Jojo Sam Claire.
It's quite incredible because when we first started the podcast, he was he had to come out to his family in order to actually, like, we had the first episode done and it was sitting in my hard drive for about like a month, and we just needed time to give Sam Joe so that he could come out to his family, and then from there we didn't even know if we were gonna actually air the podcast.
You mean this was like the very first podcast ever?
For the first episode,
yeah.
We had everything ready, all the marketing materials, the photo shoot and everything, and then he was like, I have to do this first. So we just waited for about a month, and then I think in November 2019 during the pandemic, that was when we dropped our first episode. Yeah.
I mean, it's made quite a lot of waves. I mean, I spoke about this with Sam Joe as well, but you guys have been like featured on BBC and everywhere. How does that feel?
I mean, it's a nice feeling, but it was something that I knew I wanted to do with this podcast, you know, because I come from media and I come from this background where I know how to like reach people and I know what would work. It was almost like a producer sense, you know. I think that's the part I love most about the SG Boys podcast is being a producer, right? You know, coming out with the plan for what the season's going to be like with the team, and also you know, like figuring out marketing and stuff, because these are all the things that I learned from radio, but I usually would let someone else do it. I would not have to be in charge of managing all that, you know. So it was nice to actually like take what I've learned and then apply it into something that I'm passionate about. And same for like, I went to film school, so like editing the podcast every episode.
So you do all the editing as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, learning how to upload, learning the metrics and stuff. Because that's also when like I think I improve as a presenter
when you listen back to yourself. That's
yeah.
exactly what I said about my YouTube. I mean, all this I had learned from scratch also.
Yeah. It's like,
And editing, you hear yourself, you know where you make mistakes, you know where you pause, you know where you
Yeah.
and and
It's
everything.
like, oh,
And
that's
it's
not
kind
a
of-
cohesive sentence. You
Yeah,
should
yeah,
do that
yeah.
next
And,
time.
and it's kind of like it's like really good feedback for improving your communication skills. Right?
Yeah. You know, this is actually the first time we're meeting,
Yeah.
and I've completely handed my face to you.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't even know what you're doing. But I mean, like, I watched RuPaul's Drag Race, and I'm friends with a few drag queens.
Oh yeah.
So I think
You mean Singapore?
in Singapore.
Yeah.
You're gluing my eyebrows.
Yes,
Am I right?
I'm blocking your brows.
Because I used to get very confused with the whole, like, why would you put glue on your eyebrows? Wouldn't that like rip all the hair off?
Oh no, this glue is like the glue stick that children use. So basically, what we're doing is we're just coating your brows with glue so they lie flat. It's almost like a prosthetic, right?
Okay.
So they lie flat so we can draw on brand new brows.
Okay.
Because I mean, in my opinion, that's one of the things that really makes drag. Is like you completely change your face, and the brows make such a big part of the face.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So once you change that and you get that right, kind of everything else kind of falls into place.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to try drag.
Yeah, I'm happy I can fulfill that fantasy.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I think everyone like secretly wants to try drag, you know, sexuality aside.
That's my modus operandi. I'm pretty sure everyone wants to try it at one
Yeah.
point. And I think everyone should try it
Yeah.
at some point. Yeah.
It's like I guess for like our time it was, you know, like watching John Travolta in Grease, right? Like that's the complete opposite. Like you see someone with that poof and then the black leather jacket and you think, whoa, that's like a masculine man. I want to look like that, you know. So that is also drag, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, women do drag king stuff, and that's
Yeah,
what they do, right? They
yeah.
do all this like really archetypal male presenting
Exactly.
things. Yeah.
I mean, the whole finale scene with Sandy when she does her black leather look, that is drag as well.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so like
so this is Grease is a huge big drag movie.
yeah, I mean, it's like the random first thing that comes to mind, but like that's who I think of when I think of like tough masculine men. Like when I was growing up, that was like, oh, I want to look like that, right? So if we can have that for him, then we should be able to like flip it around and then like, look at a woman and be like, oh, cool, I want to do that, and I want to like do a lot of
Or you
gender
can
roles.
just do both, because I mean I do male drag sometimes too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I have a drag king named Snatch Wonder.
It's like flipping it around. isn't
Yeah,
it?
just flipping around. It's Snatch Wonder. It sounds like a porn star name.
Snatch Wonder. It sounds like one
That's
of
my
those
drag king.
Japanese arcade
Yeah.
games. It's not like how I thought this weekend was gonna be for me, so this is very exciting. I have questions for you.
Yes, please
actually.
ask away.
Like I feel like
Yeah, because I mean you are the interviewer extraordinaire, and so I'd be honored to be interviewed by
Aw.
you.
I mean, I think I've just always been like a very curious kid, and
Mhm.
I was always like told when I was very young. I mean, we were making jokes about the church earlier, but like I grew up in a church
Yes,
environment.
your dad's a pastor, right?
Mm.
See, I have my notes here. Pastor,
Wow.
everything.
Yeah, written down in eyeliner. So like I was always very curious, and I always ask about like heaven and hell, and I always ask about like all the things that I didn't really understand about the Bible. I just never lost that curiosity,
Mhm.
you know. And but I mean, I think that is also, I guess, one of the traits of being a drag queen, right? That curiosity is always
Yeah,
kinda
and,
there.
and and it's always and being a drag queen, you're always learning. There's so much stuff to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, I love learning. I love trying new things, and this is one thing that really lets me indulge in that. It's like not just the makeup, but the costuming. I mean, for YouTube, it's the lighting and
Yeah.
everything. And I don't know, you saw outside. I was preparing for my Christmas
Yeah.
show, so every time I try to learn a new skill to do something new. So it's something that really inspires me each and every time I do drag.
That's brilliant. Like, would you say like a lot of your lessons that you've learned are external or internal? Where would you say you've learned the most? Like when you're just by yourself and no one's around and you just trial and error, or would you say it's from learning from other people?
Oh, I think it's definitely both, and and the internal external thing is definitely both too. I mean, obviously when I first started, I was watching tons of YouTube videos, but of course after a while you realize that not every YouTube video suits you, right?
Yeah.
Because the faces are different. So everyone starts by watching Miss Fame videos, and then you try to do everything, and why do I not look like Miss
Yeah,
Fame?
I like there was a period during the pandemic when I was
Yeah.
trying to learn how to do like eye makeup just for
Uh-huh.
fun.
Yeah.
So I went to Sephora and I got this like, I like violet, the color violet. So I started getting all these like colors, and then I started watching these YouTube tutorials on how to do like eye makeup and stuff, and I was like, are my eyes built differently? Why do they have so much space where their eyelids start and then they have like
The crease, yeah.
Yeah,
So you have what we call hooded eyes, right? So you've got this like
yeah
thing that I've got a bit of that too, but my eyes are also very deep set, so
Right.
so I can't do a lot of things. But you know, you have hooded eyes, so you know when you have eye makeup, I'm already planning ahead. The stuff there when you open your eyes, it's not going to be seen because it's
exactly.
eaten up by
But
the
then when
skin
I
there.
see these
Yeah.
YouTubers, you see like so much surface area.
Yeah, it's like so much
and then
room
you're like,
to play.
what is
yeah.
wrong with my
No,
eye
nothing's
area?
wrong, yeah.
Right, but it's just like, you know, following with what you were talking about, how like that doesn't apply to everyone.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
like,
So a lot of trial and error there, and then of
Right.
course you learn from other queens as well. So you know, if you ever do shows and everything, you get to see other queens close up. You see what them prepare. You learn from them. So it's like little bits here and there that you know we pick up from each other.
I mean, I'm sure like if we dive into like the history of drag, and if someone has that kind of knowledge, drag would have been around for a very, 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 very long
Yeah,
time.
I mean, it was called lots of different things even before we started calling it drag, right?
Yeah.
I mean the whole. If you're not talking about delving into the history of drag, I've
Yeah.
gone into like lots of that too. So I guess the word drag itself, it was a theatre term. Okay, that there are a few theories about how it came up. People used to think that it was Shakespeare saying it was stage direction, right?
Yeah.
When drag was dressed as a girl, right? A
Mm.
guy dressed as a girl, but people have kind of debunked that, and now people kind of think that it's more because the actors used to drag all their outfits along. So these were the drags. You know, no one really knows where it really comes from.
I was gonna ask if you were in a different time period where you don't have like the YouTube tutorials and Drag
Mhm.
Race and
Oh yeah.
clubs and stuff. Like, what would you do with your life? You think what in an alternate universe?
I mean, if
where you were born in a different time period, way in the past, what would you do?
I mean, people did do all sorts of other things. I mean, those people who had to dress up, they were the shamans, they were the jesters. You know,
Yeah.
they found a way to express themselves
Performer.
in a way that's
So you think
different.
you do that?
I
Like,
don't know, maybe, or maybe
Yeah.
I'd just be I don't know, chimney sweep or something. I don't know. in every culture, there's always some sort of the weirdos and the people who are slightly different.
Yeah.
There's people who don't subscribe to gender norms.
yeah.
In some cultures, they are looked up to. Okay,
Mhm.
you know the Indians, the Chitras, and
Yeah.
everything. But then in some, they are shunned. So you know, it's really cultural and.
I mean, so I've been like, where I am currently in my life is
Mhm.
I've been having this recurring question on my mind, which is my sexuality, my queerness, a curse or a blessing?
Mhm.
So when I interviewed the cast of Bros recently, I brought that question up to them as well, right? And of course, like the answer we always want to say is that it's a gift, right? But then when we talk about history, the most colorful people, right? The people who can see past this whole gender thing, gender norms, we make such a big deal over it. Artists like yourself, artists like performers, the original drags, you know, they go through so much shit
Yeah.
for a skill set that involves color and transformation,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
iridescence and joy and laughter and fantasy, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Like, we bring that to the stage, we bring that to a club. I say we as if like I'm part of it, but I think you're more part of it, right? Like, as a drag queen, like when a drag queen steps into a gay bar, the whole bar transforms, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
that's
yes.
something that I noticed, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like when I first started partying when I was of age, I think it was play for me, right? Play at Tanjung
Mhm.
Pagar, and then first couple of times I went, there were no drag queens when I was there. I think it was just boys, and a couple of nights in after, saw a drag queen for the first time, and the whole atmosphere was just different.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I started drag. I mean, I really didn't start drag as to go to the clubs and stuff like that. I really started drag to just have fun with my friends.
Yeah.
Because I always thought, you know, every party is the same. You just see the same people all the time. All the pictures are the same. We all
Yeah.
look the same. I mean, and then suddenly, if you suddenly, hey, someone suddenly in drag, it's just so much more memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's also the weird kind of, can I swear on your
Yeah,
show?
yeah.
There's that weird kind of like fucked up part about trying to fit in, right? Because that's something we've been discussing on the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I'm definitely guilty of as well, where a lot of the people who are picked on, now you find your tribe, right? You find your people who are like you. And if you're lucky to be looking or presenting in the way that is favored by people, whether it's light skin or you have a nice set of abs or big biceps and stuff, immediately now you become popular. And then the last thing you want is to not be accepted, right? So you would not want to do drag. You would never want to be sissy or be effeminate or be a drag queen even, right? Because that represents all the things that would not be, I guess, favored by mainstream heteronormative society, right? So there has to be a moment where you're like, fuck this, I'm not here to look hot for anyone. I'm not here to just be a piece of meat. I'm gonna like enjoy the night. I'm gonna transform the night for you. I'm gonna make this night completely different, right?
Yeah,
And I think it takes a lot of guts to do that, right? Okay, outside world, I would try to deepen my voice and try to fit in and be as masculine as possible. But I also felt that going into a gay bar initially, I thought I was gonna just be free. Instead, I was deepening my voice even lower.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was trying to like, and we see that with gym culture, people going to the gym even more and like toughening up more and being more like awake and I guess alert when they're in a gay bar compared to outside where it becomes more stressful.
That's good. For as gay people, we are always there's always this part of us that feels that we'll never be accepted.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we come into the gay culture itself. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much cliques and everything, and there's
Yeah.
so much expectations. It's almost like a another microcosm of the actual world, right?
Yeah.
Where now you have so much more expectation. You need to look a certain way. You need to even with all the different gay subgroups
Yeah.
now, you know, you're labeled almost
The
immediately
cliques
as
and
a
everything,
bear
yeah.
or an otter
And like you
or
have to
something.
to be a certain way, look a certain way, behave a certain way in order for you to get a seat at attention. You know what I mean? Like I'm using that as sort of like a
Yeah.
symbol, right? But like okay, if someone looks at you that, oh hey, you physically look great. Why would you want to lower yourself by doing drag?
Yeah,
You know? And I'm sure queer people have said that. I'm sure like that sentiment exists where if it weren't for RuPaul's Drag Race putting drag on such a pedestal, you know,
yeah.
because like Drag Race completely changed even my perception of drag,
Mhm.
where initially I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to go near drag queens. By if I'm standing with them, if I'm friends with them, or if I do drag, then I'm going back to being bullied. I'm going back to being picked on, you know. And I think when you're at a gay bar, the last thing you want is to go back to feeling alone, you know. And then I watched Drag Race,
Mhm.
and I think other people had this same feeling as well, where they realize they've been wrong, right?
Mhm.
Like, holy shit, I've been wrong this whole time. I need to reevaluate my behavior, reevaluate how I view myself and other people around me, and drag queens especially. And then because of the show, you have an appreciation for drag, but also appreciation for the drag queen.
Mhm. Yeah, I think yeah.
I'm sorry,
yeah,
I talk a lot.
No. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, less work for me. But you know, you were just saying you were just asking earlier about if you went back in time and there wasn't a time when people had, you know,
Yeah,
you-
with your skill
to
set,
calls
you
and
know?
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to go very far back. You just look at posts and you know the ballroom scene. They
Yeah.
didn't really have good instructional videos at the time, and
Yeah,
and if you look back at
learn
the
from
drag,
each
then
other, yeah.
they kind of look. Yeah, they learned from the trans girls. They learned
Yeah.
from the trans community and everything. They didn't look like great, but they felt a community there
Yeah.
of people who didn't really fit in with the rest of the society,
Yeah.
right? But now drag has become almost quite mainstream. Okay,
Yeah.
RuPaul's Drag Race has elevated drag to such a way that you get dinged if you don't do drag a certain way, right? And then you have to look like pretty. You have to look like this glamazon kind
Yeah.
of thing. I mean, I guess for me, I am quite admittedly, I am quite lucky that when I'm in drag, I'm huge and I do have that kind of proportions that can do
Yeah.
that. But you know, not everyone has that. But I think every form of drag is valid. I don't think people
Yeah.
should be able should put down someone's drag just because they think they don't fit into a certain mold.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that kind of culture comes from judging drag queens on Drag Race, and I think numerous drag queens have kind of called it out, right? I think
Yeah.
most recently Raja was like, "Who are you to tell me
Yeah.
what my art is and isn't?" But similarly, Pose has been like that for me, the same way Drag Race has been for me, because I didn't know what I think a lot of queer people in Southeast Asia may not know about like Stonewall, or 1990, the impact when Madonna's Vogue came out and ballroom scene, in America, and like what that was like, houses, and like I didn't know what House of what meant when I was watching Drag Race, and then I think Pose was educational in that sense, and I think we need that in Singapore.
Yeah, we need
Right,
to be
we
able to
have
tell our own stories as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
because-
what the podcast is supposed to kind of be.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
it houses, like, it's an archive and catalog of stories. It's not meant to sort of just discuss what is happening now, but to build like a bank of stuff that eventually people can go back to. I'm 32 now, and only in the past couple of years have I spent reevaluating who I am as a person. So I'm taking all the lessons from Drag Race. I'm not just watching it from an entertainment perspective, but like, oh, what can I learn here? What can I learn from, like, I've learned so much from the podcast, from doing the podcast, talking to people. I mean, this whole conversation about pronouns is still quite fresh for many of us. What defines a woman? What is it like being a trans person in Singapore? And not just sort of the feely stuff, but also like, okay, what actual resources are available for you when it comes to like housing and stuff? What is life like for an LGBTQ plus person here across the spectrum? Like, what are available for you? What doors are shut? So these are things that I'm still at this moment still learning, the feely stuff, but also like the actual like administrative platforms and avenues, doors and stuff. So those are things that I'm only learning recently. But I think when about growing up, I think my sexuality didn't really come into play until much later. I think I was just a very curious kid. I liked things, I was drawn to things, and I would approach things, and then the world kind of just told me this is gay. Even though it had nothing to do with my sexuality. It's not like I was sexually attracted to men at a very young age first. I was just more drawn to Little Mermaid first. And just from that choice, from liking Little Mermaid over like Lion King, realizing that, Barbie dolls are kind of cool, that you can dress them up and like play with their hair compared to like Hot Wheels. Already that was like, kids were like, that's gay. And I never understood gay. I was not interested in either gender. I was not thinking about
Transformers. Transformers is quite gay, but
Right, but like,
it's basically
sure.
they basically like change themselves to what they want. They're basically drag queens, right? That's why I used to love Transformers.
I like the Power Ranger ones when you can push the hidden and then they transform. But like I didn't like all the mecha stuff, Like I would like a certain thing and then people would tell me it's gay, even though I didn't understand what gay was. I just understood, okay, I guess guys are supposed to like certain things. So like that was my journey at the start. It was more to do with like liking certain things that people said I shouldn't like, and then life as a queer person in Singapore, of course, begins with a lot of shame and not knowing what you're doing. So
Your hairs is still poking out, but we're just gonna.
My! Am I supposed to look at myself?
Yeah, you can have a look. You can have a look.
I've not actually looked at myself.
You can have a look. You can have a look. Yeah, there's some hairs poking out.
My god!
But with this just powder, we're gonna brush all that off and draw everything back in place.
I want to interview you. I said I would interview you, so I must.
Yeah. Okay. Ask away.
I'm gonna do some quick fire things just to like get to know you.
Okay.
When you order McDonald's, like, what is your go-to order?
Oh, I don't eat McDonald's.
But if you were,
if I were, it
choice.
used to be the McChicken.
Right.
The McChicken or nuggets.
Classic.
Yeah.
Just like simple. I think when I was younger, it would always be like, whatever cool new burgers are, bigger the better, fancier the better. But I think now I've started like appreciating the most primitive burgers, like the simplest kind.
Yeah. The McChicken was my favorite when I was growing up. I used to be able to eat 2 in one sitting. So I was quite a big kid as well.
When you were growing up, what was the TV show you would rush to the TV to watch?
I Love Lucy. Can you imagine? I would come home from school because he used to show I Love Lucy at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I had to watch it every single time.
Like when I was growing up, they used to Cartoon Network, right? At night it would become this other channel where they would show like Lost in Space, like old black and white shows. So I Love Lucy was one of those shows, and that's how I watched that and I also kind of appreciated that era, that 50s, 60s era of sitcoms and TV shows. You just did a Disney princess thing, right? So
Yes,
was
yes.
Ariel your favorite?
Yeah,
Disney
yeah.
princess?
Ariel, I think Ariel's everyone's favorite, but Ariel was definitely my favorite. You were saying how you felt like liking Ariel was very gay. I was like so gay. I remember when my parents brought me to watch The Little Mermaid the first time. We were sitting like in the third row from the back, but I was so excited. I was running up and down the aisles. I would go straight to the front
How
and
young
watch
were
it.
you?
I think I was 9 or 10. I can't remember, but I think it was 9 or 10. But I was like so excited. My parents were like, "What is going on?"
How precious is that?
Yeah,
right?
I was like, I really think this movie really changed my life. Yeah.
When I performed my first performance at Pink Dot, it was at like a very pivotal point of my life. So I was supposed to do a TED Talk in the morning, and then in the evening, I went to Pink Dot and I performed. I sang Part of Your World. And I think that was that pivotal scene for a lot of us, where you're getting yelled at by your dad, and then you want to be a part of someone's world that you feel so disconnected from. And I think it's always been kind of synonymous with gay culture and like the experience, right?
Yeah.
Would you ever join Drag Race?
Probably, I would like to. I mean, it sounds like something really fun.
So the email comes in and it says, "Hey, we've been watching you. It's World of Wonder. We've been watching your videos. We think you'd be great for the next season of RuPaul's Drag Race."
Depends on which country. Is
So
it
no, they
Singapore?
want to do like full.
Like Singapore, or do I get to
Okay.
go on the American one?
Chances of the American thing actually happening, understanding how like media kind of works,
and
it's gonna
visas
be
and everything,
hard. But say they do what they've been trying to do, which is the whole versus the world thing, right?
yeah.
So if they do UK versus the world, I think right now it's Canada versus the world. If they do a versus the world thing where you can have someone like Panjani Heels on, say you're doing this, and in Singapore maybe another person would be Venomous Joakim because she was in Thailand's Drag Race. Okay, so you have some people that you know part of it. Would you say yes? You have to let them know by now.
I probably would say yes, and then try to figure out my day job. Then
Figure what to do later.
yeah, I think going on Drag Race, the main thing for me would really be the whole learning thing which I talked about earlier, because all the queens say that they, during the time when they're exposed to all the different drag queens getting ready together, they learn so much. And I think that's going to be a huge learning opportunity, and to actually have a group of queens that go through the same shit with you, that kind of bond you for life. That's what I think really I want to take.
Is
it's
that
not a competition.
what it's like in the club scene here? Say you're booked for a show and there's like 6 other drag queens performing. Do they all also go through that same scene that we see in Drag Race before the runway, where they all sit in front of the mirror together and they all talk and like kiki and like, or gossip or ask about their childhood? Well, do y'all do like makeup together, or
It depends on
do they just show up?
It depends on the gig. Yeah, in Singapore, very few places actually have room for you
To fit
everyone to do makeup.
And then there's lighting and all
So
that.
yeah,
right?
and then there's lighting and all that. So most of the time, people just come up fully prepared.
Oh,
Yeah, and I mean we do like, you know, bond backstage and everything, but you know, just before a show is not the best time to get to know people. You know, everyone's worried about their own performance. Everyone's doing their last minute preps. Everyone's doing so you know, being the one that wants to come and. I mean, if you don't know everyone already, it's a bit weird. Yeah.
okay.
So, yeah, it's not like Drag Race where everyone gets ready. But sometimes I do get ready with my cast like here. So I put some of them in drag sometimes, and they will come here and we'll get in drag here, and that's usually quite fun.
This is a playground.
Yeah,
This is like
yeah.
this is like Disneyland, I'm sure. Would you say that you started drag just when you needed drag, or is there a part of you that wish you started a little bit earlier?
I wish I started so much earlier. I wish I started when I was in my 20s. When I was in my 20s, I never really... I actually thought drag was really quite scary. Some of my friends did try to put me in drag at some point and everything. Like, no, that was, you know, feminine stuff.
So you felt that as
yeah,
well,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
definitely. And I really wish I came to my senses a lot earlier, because it's... I could have done so much more, I think. Yeah. But what to do? At least I found it now, and that's why I'm doing it with vengeance, because when I do it before my skin really just falls off my face and sags and everything, and then, you know,
Stop.
and then you can't really, you know, although RuPaul is like 60 and still looks amazing.
Even when we die, we're in drag. If you think
Yeah.
about it, right, when we're laying there,
Yeah. I do wish I
realization.
started a lot earlier, and I wish I had the guts to do it when I was in my 20s, because I can you imagine how good I would be now if I started then. But I had other things going on at the time, and probably drag wasn't such a high priority.
Was there a look that you did once as a drag queen that you've been trying to recreate but you can't seem to get it as well as you did it that one time? Like, are you able to recreate the same look again?
Pretty much, I think. I've got pretty good at that. At one point, I think there was this time when I had actually it was this look. It was this look. Yeah, this look here. This look was I actually did for my for a friend's wedding in Thailand,
Okay.
and I felt so beautiful. I felt like it was the first time I managed to, I think, found my eye shape. Or something, Before that, I was looking kind of busted, and this time I just looked so good in all the pictures. I was like, I couldn't. I even made this is why I even made like merch for it.
So
And
you
then-
have arrived when you
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
that,
yeah.
right?
But then after that, every time I try to recreate it, it just didn't look quite right. I mean, now I've evolved a little bit
Okay.
more. So this was really a turning point for me. At this part when I thought, oh, okay, so I can look like that.
Oh, that's a nice
because I
feeling.
had been trying for months, and before that I would show you all the stuff that I was I mean that was when I was still exploring my face and everything.
Yeah.
It just looked quite busted. I mean, where the brows go and everything. So yeah, so this was a okay, look up.
How does it feel when you de-drag?
Relief.
Really?
I think a lot of the drag queens say it, but one of the best parts about getting in drag is getting out of drag, because you've been strapped in. There's all that makeup in your face. Your lenses are killing you, and when you finally come out of it, it's like, oh, finally, and then you have all the pictures to look at, and that's nice.
I mean, I asked that because I'm trying to, I guess, I'm very curious about the psychology or the psychological effect of that, right? Because I
Mhm.
think what most people would equate that to would be, you put on a very nice outfit for work or for an event, right? And then you take it off and then you're like, oh, back to being like ordinary me. Or like, I can't wait to wear that thing again so that I can look that way. I guess in my mind, when it comes to drag, you're larger than life. You're this persona. And then I'm curious what that feels like when
Yeah,
you
so
de-drag.
I think that's a very interesting question, because I guess that's one big difference between a drag queen and someone who might identify as transgender. For me, this is all just a performance, and I'm very happy to go back to being myself.
There's a very clear divide between
Yeah.
okay.
But then some people do drag, and they find maybe I like being this for a bit longer.
Right,
And
like
then
there's
they
a
do.
remnant of it still left behind.
Yeah. Or maybe they felt something with the gender expression that made them feel a bit more comfortable and everything, and then
Yeah.
and that leads them to realize that, oh, maybe I'm trans. So
Okay.
so everyone has a slightly different way of looking at it, and some people find that, oh, maybe I'm non-binary, and they bring some of their drag into their normal life. They start presenting more of something in between because they feel that's what they identify
Yeah,
with.
right. Like
Like,
they need
like Jinx Monsoon,
Right.
she looks like really glamorous, and even when out of drag, she kind of like has this witchy kind of a non-binary look to her.
yeah.
So so it all varies. And then of course you have people like Cameron Michaels who cuts out of drag and it's like this complete
Completely
thirst trap,
different.
right? Yeah. So for me, the goal of drag, I mean, I managed to create this illusion and everything. I get my pictures. I'm very happy to take it all off.
Yeah. What's your favorite film of all time?
Favorite film of all time would be Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, so good, right? I
Cabin in
wish
the
they
Woods.
did a sequel for that.
I
a big horror buff,
I
so,
wouldn't.
like,
Me too.
That
I'm a
was
huge horror buff.
beautiful.
But Cabin in the Woods, I don't know how a sequel for that would work, unless they did maybe a TV series. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
it was,
like
it was
a
actually
TV
gonna be a video game,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
wouldn't that have been
Yeah,
so good?
or a TV series about that whole
all the other monsters, all the
all
other
and all the other countries.
yeah.
What really got me was a Japanese country,
Right,
and then
the
you have all the different
gods.
countries. Yeah, it was that was my
That's a
all-time favorite
gem.
movie.
If you have
Yeah.
not seen Cabin in the Woods, that is like a mashup of horror films.
And that's what I like about drag too, right? And my sense of comedy is also all mashups and parodies. I
Yeah.
love that stuff. I love all this meta kind
Yeah.
of nonsense. So that's what I like about drag too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for my shows, that's why, you know, most of the songs we rewrite the lyrics. We have like completely different lyrics and everything. Yeah.
There was this article I was reading about like why queer people are so drawn to horror.
Yeah.
You know, like cause I love Scream, so Scream is like that mashup as
Oh
well.
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like all
Scream.
that
Yeah, I love
homage.
Scream too.
It's, I don't know, something about the final girl, something about relating to like fighting against something that's coming at you, and I don't know, I guess the drama of running away from a killer is just always kind of like, I don't know, there's just something about it that I think queer people enjoy about horror films.
Yeah. I think a lot of queer people and drag queens also, I mean, they identify with fear of being the one that is going to be left behind, the fear of being left out. You know, we're always scared of society, and the society turning against us.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why we are drawn to things like zombies and slashers.
Yeah.
And then also we always feel like there's this part of us that it's a little bit more powerful, but people can't see it. And if they know it, they will hate us. And that's why we're drawn to things like witches and vampires. Yeah. We also have this thing of this thing of us trying to break out. That's why werewolves maybe you know, there are all these things that
I mean, yeah, the whole super, like X-Men, for example, I think there's so much in there.
Oh, and superheroes as well. So,
right?
You know, I mean, for me, most of my pop culture references are superheroes, horror movies, cartoons, stuff like that. So, you know, I'm sure
the nerdy things.
All the nerdy things. I mean, now everyone's a nerd, right?
Yeah.
Because of Disney and Marvel, it's all mainstream. So.
And of course there's Halloween, the aspect of just like dressing up for Halloween, right?
Yeah.
I imagine that would be the safest time of the year for you to dress up or try drag for the first time or do something different. It's when I guess it's normalized, and that's like the power of normalizing things, right? When we're able to see there's one time of the year where we don't take life too seriously, where someone can walk down the street, a guy in a skirt, and it's completely fine because we're immediately able to tell ourselves that, oh, because it's Halloween, completely fine. It's the power of what happens when we're able to just say like, it's not a big deal. Now, if only we can like apply that Halloween energy to the rest of the year.
Yeah. And hello, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's what drag queens do.
Yeah.
Drag queens, basically Halloween is what they call like drag queen or gay Christmas, right?
Do you get to just like relax during Halloween?
No,
now
that's
everyone dresses up, so it's like shit, like that one time of the year.
So you have to do it even better. So that
even bigger.
So we had a show. We had our burlesque was a Halloween show.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was pretty good. Do you see the pictures of my Halloween outfits? Actually, you see that is my spider outfit.
Was that like the random spider that I saw?
Yeah. And I made a whole body piece. Let me see the Halloween. Oh, this is my spider outfit.
Oh, wow.
I made
Holy
like
crap,
a whole body at the back.
I love that hit piece. Wow.
Yeah. Look at me.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in it, like one of those like comic book movies, and then you're like, oh, I have to sit in the chair for like 8 hours to look a certain way. This is so cool.
So you've got music, right? You do music too?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that coming along? Yeah, but you're talking about working on an album or something.
I had an album that came out in 2019, and that was one of the most creatively fulfilling experiences I've ever had in my life, because I spent years on that album. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on that album, but it also cost a lot of money, and
it was all self-funded.
All self-funded. Because I wanted to sing about and sing in a manner that I guess is not the typical way of doing things or the kind of records that people will make. I mean, like the first single is about anal sex, so
very Troy Sivan.
Yeah, you know. So like, I wanted to just sing whatever I felt like singing about, you know. So there was definitely that compromise of, okay, I'm gonna do art for art, and then the more recent singles that I've been doing were very deliberate, like, okay, I'm gonna give you the radio-friendly track. I'm gonna give you the song that people can listen to any time of the day. Right now, with where I am in my life, I wanna release new music, but I also don't know where I am in my life. Because even if I'm gonna do a pop song, it's gotta come from some place of truth. And at this very moment, I feel like I'm transitioning to something. I don't know what.
But you've been you write music.
I
all the
write,
time.
yeah. Like my writing comes from journaling. So all my songs come from like journal entries, and I have been journaling. It's just that like the desire to take a journal entry and be like, okay, there are some words here that I can turn into lyrics or chorus. That feeling hasn't hit yet, and I don't want to force it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna spray some setting spray.
Cool. What look are we going for?
This is a very fierce, what we call as in Militant Homosexuals.
Oh, right.
So that's why it's army green.
Okay.
How's it look?
Wow.
It's basically the same look.
We're gonna be matchy?
Matchy.
We're gonna do that.
Matchy.
This is the Drag Race challenge where we're supposed to be like brothers or sisters.
That's the reason why I'm doing all this makeovers, is practice for that.
Yeah, I got that challenge ready. I love that, because that's the one where a lot of our favorite queens always stumble at, right? It's always like, damn it.
Actually, talking about Drag Race, the stuff that I would like to get better at. One is, of course, makeovers, and I really love doing it.
Yeah.
And the other one is actually writing a verse. Now they all have to write a verse, right? They have to, and
every drag queen, you cannot just lip sync anymore. You have to like at least be a pop star.
Yeah.
Or at least know how to work the autotune.
It's like writing a verse and then of course constructing an outfit. That's gonna be really challenging.
You can sew, right?
I can't sew. I can glue stuff together and I can design stuff. But sewing, I can sew stuff into hair. But making an actual couture outfit, not sure.
Is there a place you can learn that?
I have gone for sewing lessons and everything, but I think for that it's just need practice. And I did get a sewing machine once, but then I just ran out of room here for all this stuff, so I just give it back to my sister. I borrowed it from my sister. Yeah. So you're talking earlier about SG Boys, about how you want it to be kind of like an oral history kind of thing. Is that what?
A little bit, yeah. Because I started with like YouTube and all these different platforms and stuff, and I guess with radio, when podcasts started coming out, I told myself I would only do a podcast if it's something that I can't already do on radio, right? And the thing that I can't do on radio is talk about queer people, queer culture, have people that I actually want to have these discussions with. And I had benefited a lot from podcasts where you put headphones on and no one knows what you're listening to, and it's very intimate, and I wanted that to be the SG Boys podcast. And sort of the irony is that it's titled SG Boys, right? It's usually a very visual kind of hashtag, and it's a certain type of queer person that's always on there. So this one is, you get to hear us more than see us.
And you started doing it with Sam and Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
And were they like really good friends before that?
No. I knew them, but I knew of them. I wouldn't say I knew them.
So how did you guys come together? I would imagine it was because you maybe had like interesting conversations before, and this might be a podcast, or did you just like?
For Samjo, yes.
Yeah.
For Samjo, yes. We were working in the same company for a period of time, and he was that person, that other person that was like you. So Samjo was that person in my company where like I could see him, run into him, and be completely myself, and we could talk about things that we wanted to talk about. And I think for the SG Boys, I came in with a very producer mindset. It was like, okay, I'm going to produce this show. Who do I need, right? What are the strengths that I can tap into from someone else, right? And Samjo was definitely his joy, his exuberance. He's got such gusto and zest for life, and he was on the cusp of breaking free, right? You can see where he is right now as Jojo St. Clair. And for Kennedy, I actually met him when he was drunk at a club. Like I saw him passed out, and then I was like, "Can I get you
passed
some?
Out. Can I get me a
water?"
podcast?
And then I was like, "Can I get you some water?" And I knew a mutual friend from his group, and I was like, "Hey, maybe y'all need to get him some water because he's sitting by himself." And then we found each other on Instagram, and I learned that he was an activist, and he represents that younger generation then of like making content, also was someone that I thought like, okay, cool. I think he could add something very interesting to the show. You know, a younger generation, someone who's very, very social media savvy. He was on Twitter a lot back then, and I thought, okay, cool. 3 people coming together, the power of 3. I always believe in the power of 3.
Hocus pocus.
Right? Holy Trinity. I wasn't even sure if we were gonna work, and then we went for a shabu shabu session, and I was like, okay, everyone's gonna meet everyone today. Everyone's just gonna have a conversation and just see whether or not we're able to just keep a conversation going among us just organically, and we could.
Yeah.
And like the vision that I had in my mind worked out.
Good.
And I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, I was like watching it as it was happening. I was like Sanjo squealing, and then Kennedy also squealing, and then I'm over there like, okay guys, let's go back to the conversation. You know, I was like almost like a moderator.
So it's like the energies all kind of worked out.
Everything just balanced out very well. Like it was just magical. You can put something together at that period of time, but it's always going to change, right? So Samjo started shifting, and I started shifting as well, and Kennedy started shifting.
Have you ever curled your lashes before?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I gouged my eyes out. Am I supposed to open my eyes?
Oh yeah, open your eyes. Just look forward if you can. Tell me if I'm hurting you.
No, you're fine. I've gone through a lot of other kinds of pain.
I'm always that's the part I'm most scared of, like
Really?
tugging someone's eyelash.
No, it's fine. Yeah. This show worked out.
How often are you guys doing shows now?
Right now,
yeah, it's like they seem to be quite few and far between.
Right now, right now they're not as frequent, but that will change very soon.
Oh great! You've got like you're recording episodes now.
Yeah, so we're currently in the recording period for the next season, because that's usually how it used to be, where we would record a whole bunch of episodes, so then I can spend time to edit every one of them, and then we also like have Rachel, who's part of our team. She's our comms manager, and she came on solely just as a friend and ally, and she just helps us to check through to just make sure that we're safe, the things that we say are backed up, especially when it comes to like political stuff.
She does like
She just
fact
helps
checks
us,
and
yeah, and then like Samjo does that as well. And we run through every episode, listen through everything that is said, and fact check just to keep everyone, especially our guests, safe. Because we don't want to be that podcast that like pushes for the sake of pushing, or it has like factually inaccurate stuff that is going to come back and bite us, right? Because there's always that constant thing of, okay, we can make noise about something, we can get a reaction out of you, but then if it's actually not going to help the cause in the long run, let's not.
Yeah, that's very wise. Is that something that came from your producing on the radio, especially in a local Singapore
and
context?
Knowing
you
exactly,
want to be sure,
yeah. So that came from there, where you have to be deliberate about everything. Currently, right now, I host the morning show in the recording of this video, and this period has just been really hard for me to record, and then Samjo also performs at night, so to get our schedules together has just not been very easy, but we're hoping that we're going to make some adjustments here and there, and things can be possible.
So are you guys going to talk about the repeal of 377A?
Well, that was the last thing that we did together when the repeal was announced.
Yeah, but now that they actually did it.
The thing about it is, I was re-listening to our repeal announcement episode.
Okay, yeah.
And it actually, a lot of the things that we felt then are not that different from what's actually happened. I mean, I guess if we go through the breakdown of every single speaker and give our thoughts on it, but then at the same time, I feel like a lot of the things that should be said have already been said.
Yeah, and I think T42 had a really good episode about
exactly.
it. Exactly.
So if someone has already done, like I think Heckin Unicorn did a fantastic job on social media. I think Pink Dot as well, and with T42 as well, they did a fantastic breakdown.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the things that they said, I mean, I kind of like felt that didn't know how to articulate, and I think Joel does an amazing job at doing it.
Yeah.
I mean about how, you know, it didn't really sit right with all the PAP MPs. They sound like they're pretty supportive, but you know, as Joel said, it's all under the protection of the whip. Right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, they're changing the constitution to prevent. I mean, well, not prevent. I mean, they're not decided on the whole question of marriage, but they're going to make it a parliament thing rather than a court thing, which means it's going to be ruled by majority and not by logic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So when we have situations like that, when someone else has already done it and they're doing it so well, I don't see like a point in having to add to that. You know, I think that's the part of being, the whole point of being a part of the community is that someone else can also take on something, you know? we currently have a trajectory of things that we want to cover, so we're going to focus on that. And for me, it's always been like the SG Boys podcast is not something that I see that I'm going to do for like 10, 15, 20 years, you know? It's something that like, okay, this is going to capture us where we are right now.
Mhm.
I want to have the people that I want to have on the show, or we want to have on, and then let that speak for itself over time. Yeah,
I
it's like
can't
a
wait
time
for the next
capsule.
season.
Yeah.
Okay, we're almost done. Have a look.
Wow, this is kind of insane.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish off my face and then we're gonna get in a drag. Okay, and then we'll be right back to finish up the video.
Wow, the eyelashes really like take it
they
to
change
a whole
everything.
other level,
The
huh?
eyelashes really
Because
make a big
initially I
difference.
felt it and I was like, did he like stick it on my eyebrows? Because I feel it like so high up, but then no, you did it right.
Yeah.
It's just like the tip of it.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
this thing's getting used to. It feels like I've got like a shade on my eyes.
Okay, we'll be right back. Alright, and we're back. Couple of militant homosexuals here. How do you feel? Yeah, show them your eye makeup. You can take this off first. Couple of militant homosexuals ready for the parade or whatever.
Hi. I feel quite powerful actually.
Do you have a drag name?
On a budget.
On a budget.
Hi, I am on a budget and this is my first time in drag.
Staff sergeant on a budget.
That's right.
As in on your budget.
On your budget.
On your budget. Tanya.
I'm on your budget. I love
On your
it.
budget. Alright, Joshua, so how do you feel about this look?
I feel honestly.
How do you feel honestly?
I feel
Yeah.
powerful. Like I feel like it's like when I was looking myself in the mirror, like away from you, just by myself, I was like, holy crap, right? Because like you wake up in the morning and you think your day's gonna go a certain way, and then in a matter of like what, an hour,
Yeah.
I feel like I want to go everywhere like this, but at the same time, I'm also like not scared. I don't know. Maybe it's just this particular getup, right?
Yeah,
like
because
it's-
we are, really powerful. And
Yeah.
I'm doing some Top Gun energy here.
Yeah, and the hair is big as well. So like initially before we put the wig on and the outfit, I was like, oh, I'm gonna smile like this, like just smile, right? And then you put the wig on, and then I feel like, yeah, like this is the expression that comes out, and it
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
natural. Like it works with the hair, it works with the outfit. So I like completely understand how all of it is connected.
Yeah, and whenever you get dressed, you do feel different, right?
Yeah.
That's what RuPaul says. You want to succeed, you wear a suit, right?
Yeah.
Because the suit makes you feel a certain way. And in drag, I mean, now of course we are this military kind of outfits. We do feel like maybe we do have a little bit of power. So giving us the name Militant Homosexuals maybe is doing us a favor after all.
Should we like go to like a 7-Eleven?
Why don't we go CMPB just right down the road?
Just like that.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, hi. Oh, this is so fun.
All right, so I'm glad you had a good time.
More than a good time. This is incredible. And this is, look, if this is my first time in drag, objectively speaking, I look pretty awesome. Like if this is my first time in drag, holy crap. If I were to hang out at your place a little bit more, if I were to like maybe like explore this
On
side
your
of
budget,
me,
will be the next person.
Oh,
Next one
gee.
on RuPaul's Drag Race.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Should scoot over a little bit. Okay.
Over? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, so, okay. All right. So I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please subscribe and all that nonsense. All right. Okay. So So I guess I'll see you next time, and thanks for coming over again, Joshua.
Absolutely.
On your budget.
I'll come over more often. Why did that accent just come out?
Yeah.
It's like-
I don't know.
Right. Like, subscribe, and
Like,
share.
subscribe, and share. All right.
That's right. Do
Bye.
everything, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Oh yes, Merry Christmas. And come
That's
to my
right.
Christmas show if you haven't already. Bye. All right, then we do some posing. Pose. Kebelakan bosing. So this is for the thumbnail.
Okay.
Alright, so if you like this video, don't forget to catch a makeover I did for Pretty Please up here, or maybe down there, and also for Honey Gluttony, one of my daughters for corroborating. Bye.